My friends, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see, please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell. And if you think you're already subscribed, please check to make sure YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you without your permission. It happens every day. And if you really like what you see, please consider becoming a channel member or even leaving a super thanks donation to help keep us going. I promise to answer each and every one I receive. Thank you for watching, my friends, and now, on to the video. My friends, there is an uproar online erupting around Adobe, the company that markets essential graphic design and editing programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, Audition, and so on. These programs are ubiquitous, but it appears that Adobe is now facing a user rebellion and an apocalypse unlike anything they've experienced in their long and storied history. Many users are now canceling their subscriptions and abandoning Adobe after the latest update to their Terms of Service agreement. And once you hear what Adobe lays out in their new legal user document that everyone must agree to continue using their products, I predict a lot of you will start looking for alternative software to use as well. This is not a rumor. This is all too real. And as we speak, the news is spreading like wildfire all over Twitter X, and no wonder. Frankly, in software terms, I've never heard anything quite as shocking as the news I'm about to share with you. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and it would take a lawyer to unravel the legalese and implications of all of this to understand every nuance of what's going on here and assess the actual legal threat. Nevertheless, I feel it is my duty to warn you all of what many users are claiming is hidden in plain sight in Adobe's new Terms of Service agreement.
Okay, I'm not a software user. I'm just a simple eldritch god hell-bent on destroying your universe. You will all perish in flames, just a friendly reminder by the way of an aside. So explain to me, and those like me who don't pay attention to this crap, what are terms of service?
Terms of Service agreements are lengthy documents written by a company's lawyers detailing the legal conditions that come with using their software. In other words, it's one of those seemingly useless screens that nobody reads and just clicks on agree or I accept in order to get through installing the software you bought and start using it. Unfortunately, in this case, someone actually read through the updated Terms of Service agreement for Adobe, and what they found shocked them. I don't say that lightly. It is truly shocking, the words I'm about to share with you. Word started to spread about this, and now it's a wildfire, and Adobe users are fleeing the conflagration, canceling their subscriptions and vowing never to use Adobe again. And I don't blame them, because essentially what they believe Adobe is trying to do is they're asserting they have the right to not only review your work, but use anything you create with their software for their own purposes.
Dude, that's crazy. I don't believe it. That's gotta be a mistake.
Adobe is trying to say it's a mistake, Harvey Cthulhu. They've sent out some spin agents to try and calm the raging waters of outrage in blog posts, but users are not placated by these reassurances in blog posts, since blog posts are not legally binding modifications of the Terms of Service, and thus the Adobe exodus continues even as we speak. But judge for yourselves, my friends. Here is the actual text of the Terms of Service update. Listen and judge for yourselves. Now, as near as I can tell, the upheaval on X began with a post from Sasha Yanshin, quote, "I just canceled my Adobe license after many years as a customer. The new terms give Adobe, quote, worldwide royalty-free license to reproduce, display, distribute, unquote, or do whatever they want with any content I produce using their software. This is beyond insane. No creator in their right mind can accept this. You pay a huge monthly subscription and they want to own your content and your entire business as well. Going to have to learn some new tools," unquote. And then Sasha posted a graphic of the actual clause. Read it and see if Sasha is exaggerating. Quote, 4.1, content. Content means any text, information, communication, or material, such as audio files, video files, electronic documents, or images that you upload, import into, embed for use by, or create using the services and software. We reserve the right, but do not have the obligation, to remove content or restrict access to content, services, and software if any of your content is found to be in violation of the terms. Now, to the really important section 4.2, licenses to your content. Solely for the purposes of operating or improving the services and software, you grant us a non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sub-licensable license to use, reproduce, publicly display, distribute, modify, create derivative works based on, publicly perform, and translate the content. For example, we may sublicense our right to the content to our service providers or to other users to allow the services and software to operate as intended, such as enabling you to share photos with others. Now, when they say for example, that's one example, but it is not the entirety of what is covered under this license to your content.
This is some world-class skullduggery, and I should know. The only flaw is when you post a document like this, someone might actually read it, and if that happens, you're screwed sideways with a chainsaw.
Adobe is now experiencing a horrible exodus as people are canceling their Adobe subscriptions. And what choice do they have? A lot of people do work for hire, confidential work for confidential clients, major corporations, even government agencies with top secret regulations like the FBI or the CIA or the NSA. Essentially, while claiming you retain ownership of your work, they are claiming they can still do whatever the hell they want with your work, not owning it, just using it. And they further admit that they're monitoring your content, meaning examining your work, allegedly to check to make sure you're not doing anything illegal with it, including spam and so on. So Adobe is now policing your content as well? Adobe is now another layer of law enforcement? They're now some kind of additional censorship filter over your personal work? The idea that Adobe can scrutinize your work at all, peer over your shoulder because you're using their software, and even remove or delete your work if they decide it violates their standards, it should send a chill down the spine of any user. This is indeed an Adobe apocalypse, my friends. So how is Adobe responding to this crisis? They've responded with a blog post trying to squelch the controversy, and yet hilariously, in this blog post, they do not even address Section 4.2, licenses to the content, which was the whole point of the rebellion. They double talk in this document, but they never address the actual legal clause that caused the uproar. They give assurances that artists retain ownership of their work, that they need these terms of service changes to administer cloud services, and that, of course, everyone retains ownership of their work. Was this enough to calm user concerns? Hell no! Section 4.2 isn't even addressed, but even if it was, a blog post, is not a legally binding contract. It's simply a blog post, as pointed out by Sasha. Quote, I give precisely 0 fucks about Adobe's clarifications or blog posts. You forced people to sign new terms. Legally, they are the only thing that matters. These terms state black on white that you will now have irrevocable license to use my content for pretty much any purpose you want. One way to avoid needing a clarification or customer outrage is by not trying to screw your customers over. Pretending that this wasn't intentional only makes Adobe and its employees look even more pathetic, unquote.
Good God in heaven! What the hell is the world coming to? You should push the button, dude. Free me, and I'll take care of it.
Yeah, you'll take care of all of us along with it. We're not that desperate yet, Harvey Cthulhu, but there is one last thing I want to emphasize, folks. As some have pointed out, Section 4.2 starts out saying, solely for the purposes of operating or improving the services and software, you grant us a non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sub-licensable license to use, reproduce, publicly display, distribute, modify, create derivative works based on, publicly perform, and translate the content, unquote. Defenders of Adobe are pointing to the first part of that sentence solely for the purposes of operating or improving the services and software as a caveat that should placate users. And yet, wouldn't using your content to train their AIs to replace you be covered under improving the services and software? I'm not a lawyer, but it seems to me it sure as hell would do just that. Some believe they're asserting this right in order to use your content to train their AIs, and naturally, the AIs would be ripping off your style. Hell, maybe your techniques if the AI is tracking your keystrokes while you're using the software, all in order to what? Replace you with their AI in the future? This is one of those rare stories that actually gets worse the more you think about the ramifications. Still, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't think the whistleblowers are lawyers either. These people are just everyday software users like all of us who want to create in peace without being monitored and without granting a major corporation any license to their content regardless of how it's used. So dig into this for yourselves, my friends, and make your own decisions, but be warned. There are those who are alarmed about Adobe's new terms of service, and just reading them, I can't say I blame them. From the center of the earth, this is Victor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha